And thanks to Major John Quinlan from the 507th Air Refueling Wing Public Affairs Office for that report. And as we can see, Greg, we're looking at maybe another landing on a truck.
It looks like it. Kent has been performing for the crowd, really milking it today to show the capabilities he's got as a pilot, but also the team coordination that it takes for his driver to be driving the truck on the runway. Certain speed, he's got to maintain a straight line so that Kent can come in and bring that airplane down and set it down and land on top of a moving truck. It's amazing to see, and he's probably going to try to set up again after he passes. Well, there he goes. He's going to go right past him. We had
now, what speed are they going at, do you think?
Oh, I'm not sure. He's probably going to go about 60 miles an hour. He's going to slow it down as much as he can so that he's got a nice stable platform and slow it to landing speed. The airplane wants to keep flying anything above that. So he's got to slow it down, but he's got to have precise timing with that truck on the runway. You can see they've reversed course here, and they've got the truck going back to our north. It's going to go up the runway, and as he comes by, he's putting in little cross controls to line up on top of the thing. He's got the main landing gear down, and he's going to slowly roll forward until he's in the right spot, and he's got to get him in that little slot there so that tail wheel can eventually come down and provide a stable platform, because right now he's still flying. That tail wheel is up, the truck is still moving. You're going to see our famous skyline in the background of Oklahoma City with our distinctive Devon Tower, and of course we've got our AWACS too there visible. It's an amazing sight to see. We've got the Stars and Stripes and the POW recognition flag flying from the back of that truck. He's such an entertainer. It's always a crowd pleaser no matter where he goes. I wouldn't be landing on top of a truck if it was me.
I'm not sure if I'd be driving the truck either.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see. I wanted to mention the package that we just saw of on Civil Air Patrol by Major Quinlan. The Civil Air Patrol is a great organization, and tonight, if you're still around this afternoon at about 5 o'clock, our wing commander, 72nd Air Base Wing Commander, is going to be presenting the Spots Award to a number of cadets in front of a Cessna 182 from the Civil Air Patrol. Now, the Spots Award is the highest award you can receive as a Civil Air Patrol member. So this is a really great thing, and we're proud to have not only the Civil Air Patrol helping us out today, but also providing some mission support. They're flying some airplanes around and taking pictures to show our capacity for crowds and where we've got our people, and give us a good idea of what's happening today. So we're very proud of the Civil Air Patrol, but we also want anybody that's interested to come out and check out the presentation of the Spots Award by our 72nd Air Base Wing Commander. I'm going to kick it to you, Ron, and let you talk about Kent as they bring the airplane and the truck back over to in front of the folks.
Well, they're speeding up a little bit. What, is he going to take off again? No. He's got I don't know. Let's see what he does.
I think at this point
he's taking off again. There we go. Well, he's got to get it off the truck some way. You know, you can't just go driving down I-40 with an airplane on your truck.
Well, he could, but I mean,
he could, but there might be some problem.
That's right. That would be a very interesting scene to see rolling down the highway.
I just see them explaining that to the highway patrolman.
Church is letting out, and then see something like that. I think it'd be awesome to see something like that. He's making another approach.
He's going to come around and land that sucker back, and he'll probably taxi up. If you're in the crowd and you want to come and see Kent, be sure to come to him and get his autograph, talk with him. He may have a few jelly beans to pass out to folks, 1 or 2. I'm not sure.
Well, then we should have him come over here to the set and bring some jelly beans. Why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So one of the things, now that Kent is almost done, we're going to also tell you about our largest wing in Air Combat Command, our 552nd Air Control Wing. We've got an awesome package built on their mission and the AWACS, and we're going to kick to that right now.
All right, thanks, guys. We're out here with the E3 AWACS, Airborne Warning and Control System, and Senior Airman Roman Gonzalez. Thanks for coming out, man.
Hey, thanks for talking with me.
Yeah, it's great. When people come out here and they see the E3 and the radar dome spinning, it's a popular sight. A lot of folks in line for the E3, but really what we want to talk about is what is the mission of this aircraft?
So the E3 AWACS is a C2 command and control platform, as well as radar and IFF. So mostly what the E3 does, goes up into the air, communicates with fighters, tankers, and ground control to sort of control airspaces.
That's awesome. So a lot of communication happening in the back. Can you tell me a little bit about the crew complement and the folks that are on this aircraft?
Yes, sir. There's typically about 20 to 39 crew members. So you got your flight deck up front. As you make your way back, we've got communication technicians. They're going to be working the radios. As you go back, you've got your air battle managers, your ABMs. They're the ones communicating with fighters and tankers and ground control. And then we've got surveillance, looking at all the dots that we're picking up, and technicians to sort of maintain the equipment on board.
Awesome. So it takes a large crew to make this mission happen. And we see behind us is a long line. So when folks are getting ready to take a visit of the E3, what are they going to see?
So they're going to enter into the forward crew entry door, and they're going to talk with the AC. We've got an AC up there right now, the aircraft commander, the pilot. So he'll talk about flight deck and the flight deck controls. And then as they make their way back, we've got a couple lieutenants. They're going to be the ABMs. And they'll talk about what they're seeing behind the consoles and on their computers. And we've got a technician up there who's going to talk about the equipment that we have and how they maintain it.
Okay, that's awesome. So a lot to see here. E3, Airborne Warning and Control System is one of those things. So if you want to check it out, come on out here. And with that, that's all I got. Back to you guys.
Gentlemen, that was a great little piece on the 552nd Air Control Wing. And sitting next to me right here is Lieutenant Colonel Casey Hayes, who happens to be not only the 72nd Operations Support Squadron Commander, but he is the air show boss for today. He's the man responsible for the Star Spangled Salute Air and Space Show here at Tinker Air Force Base. Isn't that right, sir?
It is right. It is right. A lot of responsibility, but we're up for the challenge. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So how's the air show going, sir?
The air show is going great, just as planned. I tell you what, Mother Nature came in strong today. We got great weather. We had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday, but I tell you what, we still got jets back up in the air. So really excited for the crowd to come out. I wasn't expecting as much as we have out here, but true Oklahomans know that weather comes and weather goes. So we're excited to have them out there, but it's going great today.
Well, we're glad to hear that. How much planning has gone into this?
Well, I tell you what, that's a great question. When I got here about a year ago, they told me immediately, hey, we're going to start getting prepped for the 2019 show. Now, this is back in June. So every 2 years we have a show, and as soon as we're done here, we're going to be turning right around and putting a team together and start getting the bids for all the different air racks and all the different planning. There's about a volunteer show strength of about 150 just planners and all kinds of coordinators, and all these folks have day jobs. They all support the mission here at Tinker Air Force Base, and then they're doing this on the side. So it's a huge tribute to what they like to do and their support to aviation and Team Tinker mission here. So, but we'll be doing this. We're going to turn right around after this show is done, and we're going to start planning for the 2020 show.
All right.
And that's
21,
coming.
you mean?
21.
Yeah, right.
21.
Whoa,
Yeah. So we got a little more time.
A little more time.
Are you familiar with the capacity today so far, sir?
So far, no. I do know this. We were planning for almost 200,000 as far as parking capacity, and I understand we're about 90% full.
Okay.
And we reached that point about an hour ago. Yesterday.
Yeah.
So not quite as much this time, but I think that's just going to continue to trickle in. So if you haven't left yet, make your way out here. You don't want to miss the air acts that we got planned for you. It's going to be exciting.
The Blue Angels will be on at 3 o'clock. You don't want to miss that.
Absolutely, it'll be a missed opportunity. They're going to be just lighting up the skies. They had a great show yesterday. The F-16 Viper team was absolutely phenomenal, and we got some great civil air acts out here, and all kinds of great things for the families to come out and see.
And not only just flying, but like STEM City, that's been a huge hit.
Good point. We're well in line with our theme as well. So saluting United States troops, armed forces, past, present, and future. with the future, we're really looking at next generation science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we have a whole airplane hangar where we normally put together big B-52 bombers. We've cleaned that whole hangar out, and we replaced it with robotics and drone racing and all kinds of things from the local community STEM organizations that are coming out to support really finding that next generation soldier, sailor, airman, and marine that want to come fight and continue to make this a safe country.
So now it isn't just kids going in there and enjoying it, is it?
No, it's not. Unless you call kids probably from ages from 4 to 92, because we've got them all in there. We've got them all in there.
Well, Jeff and I were in there earlier, and we thought, well, boy, we'd like to go back and play with some of
Play
those
with the
robots.
toys.
I couldn't believe everything.
I thought we'd be out of place, but we kind of weren't. There were plenty of adults in there and
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Now the ship has sailed for Ron and I on STEM, of course, but the kids that were in there were really, I can tell they were so inspired. And then that's one of the things we're encouraging all the kids that are here right now that are maybe thinking about coming out to go in there and check it out because of the inspiration.
Yes, our opportunity to inspire, educate, and just really enthuse the next generation folks. I mean, when you and I came through this, our time frame, technology just continues to, just to ramp up. And look what they have available to them now.
Yeah.
And look what we're going to have available to them in the future. So this is great. These programs are bringing these kind of educated kids in their programs, starting them earlier than when we came up through the elementary schools. So that's excited. I love the hands that we're placing the future of our security into. It's great. It's comforting to see.
Well,
yeah, because I was playing board games as a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Until I was like 14, until
Absolutely.
they came out with like an electronic football game. And,
Right.
But the great thing about the STEM Center that we have is that there's organizations that are, if you're interested in getting any of your kids, or if you're interested in getting involved in STEM, anything, there's like at least a dozen organizations in there that are available that you can get involved with, right?
Absolutely.
At least.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we had over 20 different organizations that came out and all have different displays that are active programs in the community today. So a lot of room, a lot of time or a lot of places to get involved, and a lot of people to talk to. If you don't know what your future looks like, boy, I tell you what, it's a good place. It's a smorgasbord to kind of figure out where do you fit into your future.
And the bonus is that, if you love the military and if you love STEM,
yes,
it overlaps.
absolutely, it does. And we're not just looking for pilots. You know what I mean? It takes so much more than aviators to run an aviation unit and to keep the skies safe. So from scientists to firefighting, there's all kind of technology that all comes from STEM that just enhances all of our capabilities for the future. So it's good stuff. It's exciting.
It's great stuff. Colonel Bell was on earlier, and he brought in a young lady named Chloe. She was 8 years old.
8 years old.
And she was in love with STEM.
Okay.
At that age, she's already caught it. He took her over there, and she said yes, she liked it, seeing the robotics,
right,
and everything, and trying it. So you can see it's starting. At 8 years old, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
To want that, and that's what she wants to do.
That's
is
great.
to find out more about STEM. So I hope her parents will keep her doing that as she gets older, into school, high school, college. Who knows where? The sky's the limit.
Absolutely, and hats off to all of the instructors and professors and people that are putting these programs together, because and all the mentors, right? Because without them, this doesn't happen. So they're really paying it forward, I think, for our nation's youth. So that's something that we should definitely not overlook. So.
Well, that's true. That's good. Well, I tell you what, sir, I know you're a busy man. You've got to get back and run the air show.
Sure, you betcha.
But we appreciate you taking the time to stop by here and talk to everybody out there.
My pleasure.
And tell them what we're doing here at Tinker with the Star Spangled Salute Air and Space Show. Wow, what a great day today. And the Blue Angels will be coming up at 3 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
You don't want to miss that. We're back to...
Oh, man. I tell you, we're going to bring Greg Davis back on, our aircraft expert here, in just a few minutes. But the air show continues, and it's a beautiful thing. It's already been going on. We're almost 2 hours in, Ron, and we're just getting warmed up. We've already seen some amazing acts so far, and then we've seen Kent Peace, and he's done 2 presentations. If you missed him, landing on top of a moving truck. That was unbelievable. Of course, we had our Team Tinker. We had, our AWACS. And then we've had, we have our E3s. I mean, you name it, and we've had all of our flying squadrons and talking about their missions that have been going on here all morning.
Do you recognize that airplane?
I guess I should, shouldn't I?
No, that's a MiG-15. And who flies it?
That's
Greg?
Randy Baller's MiG-15. It's a Russian-built MiG-15, first encountered in the Korean War. It's got a swept wing, high-performance airplane, and this is one of the type of aircraft that came up and met our F-86 and T-33 Shooting Star aircraft as they participated in the Korean War. And here it comes with a low pass.
Whoa.
Right down the runway.
Fast.
Boy, is he moving. That is amazing. So you can see the performance, and this is, like I said, this is what our fighter pilots met over the skies of Korea. Most of the time they were, the Russians were flying the aircraft that had Chinese markings, but very capable pilots at the time, the Russians, when they first introduced the MiG-15, and later the MiG-17, a derivative of the MiG-15. But Randy is an incredible pilot. I'll tell you, he flies about 20 different airplanes, and he's a super capable pilot. He's authorized for low-level performance in the MiG-15 and other jets in front of crowds of thousands across the nation. So he's if you've been watching him from our crowd line, he is just fantastic to watch. And like the F-16 Viper demo we have, the airplane pulls some G's. He can get that airplane and pull a number of G's and turn it around pretty quick. It's got that distinctive wing form that we see right now with the swept wings. It's amazing to see. You can also see on top of the wings what they call wing fences. And that's to keep the airplane stable as the as the air goes across that wing. It keeps the airplane from departing flight because it's such a raked wing that it doesn't want to be stable. So they put those wing fences on top of the wing, and it helps it for stability. Just keeps it flying and keeps the pilot safe. But that is a supersonic capable, I believe, aircraft, and what a performance he can perform for us. We see him again, but we also hear right in the background the de Havilland Twin Otter taking off with our Air Force Academy cadets and the Wings of Blue jump team. Mm-hmm. They were really cool. They brought in the the American flag as they jumped earlier today, and they had Adam Baker doing some loops around him with some smoke as they came down, and the national anthem was sung. There's the Twin Otter going off. Now, it's going to be a few minutes after they take off because they've got to climb to altitude, get all those jumpers up to about 10,000 feet, I think is where they're going to go to today. And then they'll kick them out, and we'll get to watch them free fall for a while and come down.
And we had a couple of the jumpers, a couple of the cadets on set here earlier, and really it was interesting to hear how they got into joining the team while they're at the academy, and then we asked them a little bit about what after they graduate, they're seniors, so next year they'll be commissioned second lieutenants.
Yes.
And going on it, and Zach, the one said he'd like to be a physician's assistant. That's what he's looking at. Sure. And Tara, the young lady that we had sitting next to me, she was looking, I do believe she said
physical therapist.
Physical therapist, yeah. That's what she wants.
Or they're aiming high.
Or she wants to get into pilot training.
Right.
And maybe fly heavies. So we don't know. They're still looking.
Yeah. But, that's incredible because, I mean, that opens up so many doors for them. And not only that, but it just inspires them and it motivates them when they see, I think, other cadets and they come to air shows like this. I mean, this inspires so many people. I mean, adults and children. And that's really what it's about, too. And we have so many other great acts that you're going to be seeing up here this afternoon. We have so many great guests that are coming on, too. We're going to keep on passing them through. Ron and I and Greg are going to be talking to them on top of the amazing show. And a big shout out to the Hill Air Force Base production team and PA team too. They're bringing you all this footage that you're seeing right here, and they're keeping this, I mean, all the shots are framed up real nice, trying to keep the aircraft in frame, and they're doing such a nice job of that. We got to throw a big shout out to them too, because they've been such a huge part of this. Because if you've been out here, I don't know, Ron, like we were talking about yesterday, if you're out here on the flight line on your phone and you're trying to follow the aircraft, you know, with your phone or trying to take a picture, it's almost impossible. And look at these guys. I mean, they're following the aircraft almost at supersonic speed. And they're doing just such a great job of everything.
There's a good shot of the MiG-17, Randy Ball coming in. What an aircraft.
That's just a cool looking aircraft.
It is,
And there's like no two aircraft here that look exactly the same, Ron. And that's the other fun part about the air show. You get to see so much history with the aircraft, not just Tinker history, but just aviation history in general. And we have a new guest with us right now, too.
Yes,
we're
we
going
do.
to get to.
Yes, we do. We have a new guest. Joining us here on set, Staff Sergeant Michael Lawhern. He is an active duty recruiter with the United States Air Force. Welcome. Glad to have you with us. Tell us a little bit, how big a part does recruiting play in an air show? I mean, how good is this for you?
This is outstanding for us.
Have you, Michael?
Love it. Shows off all the beautiful planes, all the wonderful jobs that our maintainers do to get these planes up in the air, and showcase what we do as an Air Force.
Okay. Well, that's great. So you have just one booth out here? Do you have several booths? What's going on?
We have two booths out here. One is our national asset, which is a garage type event. We have different simulations of what active duty maintainers do every day on the flight line, from avionics to crew chiefs to sheet metal specialists, things like that. And then we also have the active duty recruiting booth, and we are showcasing some of our nice assets you may have seen, like our Can-Am, and giving out some free things as well.
Well, so do you get a lot of people coming up here that are interested in the Air Force?
Yes,
want to
sir.
find out more?
Yes, sir.
And what do you tell them? Like, what do you come see you at your office?
Yes, sir. Essentially, we'll give them a card and we'll talk to them a little bit, maybe give them a phone call, and just make sure they're qualified to join, and go from there.
Well, that sounds great. I love it. And what do you make a lot of visits to schools during the school year?
As recruiters, that's mainly what we do. We bring we go to the schools, talk to all the kids there, set up booths, talk to classrooms. We also do separate events like this, where we air shows or baseball games, football games, like that.
So where are you based out of?
Midwest City. I'm Midwest City, and I cover Midwest City down to Shawnee, all the way up to Stroud. So quite a large area, and a little bit of Choctaw and Shawnee, Hera, Jones as well.
So you get around, and others in your office have other areas that they go to?
Yes, sir.
So how big an office do you have? How many recruiters?
For my office, just 2. For the
Just
local
2.
area, we have 5, though. Covering Oklahoma City, all the way to El Reno, and Enid, even.
Wow.
That sounds great.
So if someone wants to join, how do we get a hold of you?
Just give us a contact, give us a call anytime at one of our phone numbers. You can go online, airforce.com, type in your zip code, and it'll automatically take you to the local recruiter in your area.
Nice.
Well, that sounds great. Well, we appreciate you being with us, and good luck on recruiting.
Yes, sir.
You know, we want to get new people in here all the time in the United States Air Force. And right now we're going to go back and see, whoa, another airplane apparently falling out of the sky, but not really.
No, another free fall.
Another free fall pulling out. There we go.
We have such beautiful presentations here today, Ron. You know? And,
Yes, indeed.
Anyway,
It's a beautiful day to fly.
It just keeps getting better and better. You know, everyone's doing something different with different aircraft, and we're learning a lot about these aircraft too with one of our experts, Greg Davis, who will be joining us shortly again, talking about what we're seeing. He's a pilot himself.
Yes, Greg is a pilot. He has his own plane that he currently has out at Dover, Delaware. He's having some engine work done on it, but we're looking forward to having him get his airplane here, because I know he misses flying it and wishes he could be doing it every day and that. So Greg, why don't you come on in and tell us, what are we seeing right now?
Well, right now we're watching Adam Baker and his Extra 300 do some awesome high-performance aerobatics. He's one of the best, and not only that, he's one local boy. He's a hometown hero, if you will. He's from Oklahoma, and we're so proud to have him here. He's sponsored by Playful, and he's got that cool artwork all over his aircraft, which has the cartoon characters from the video game. But it's so impressive to see him doing these loops. He's just doing an aileron roll right there. This is precision aerobatics at its finest, gentlemen. And we've talked about flying the airplane, flying it to the edge of the performance envelope. He's doing that now. He also pulls a lot of G's. When he's repositioning and doing some of these, like this, that's what they call a waterfall, is almost out of control. Just throwing the airplane around and bringing it back down. But he's pulling some G's and getting into some very unusual attitudes for a pilot.
Yeah, is this Adam Baker again?
Adam Baker, yes.
So that's a different aircraft. Because he started off this morning with another aircraft, right?
I don't believe so.
Is it the same one? Okay.
Flying the same one. He circled our jumpers as they brought down the American flag.
Oh, gotcha.
And he had his smoke trailing, his typical smoke trailing, and just circled them to make sure that everybody could see them in the sky. But this is his full performance right now, and he puts on a heck of a show. You can see him streaking through the sky and above our skyline there. Right now he's probably building up some speed. He's going to turn back toward the crowd, and I believe this is his pass where he's going to come by and give everybody the top side view of the airplane so that they can take a really nice photo. If you want to try to get him to wave, he's going to be looking for people to wave back. So that's what I'd be doing.
These are great shots. I know we have a lot of cloud cover today, but they're really high-deck clouds. It's like a milky blue sky that we have today, and that's still good for an air show.
Absolutely. Here, as he pushes the airplane over and does a corkscrew, woo! It's a high-performance aileron roll.
Oh, that's awesome.
Boy, oh boy, is he going. And now he's going to come back down. It's going to come right down the runway. You can hear the sound of that awesome engine as he pulls into the vertical and continues to pirouette, if you will, as he goes up. Yeah, I also want to compliment our camera operators for being able to keep track of a guy like this.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing that.
Dancing through the skies and making sure that they're able to follow him. That's pretty impressive for my point of view. Here he goes. That's a precision 4-point roll. He stops at every turn and lets the airplane stabilize for a second and then continues on. So impressive to see. And you don't want to be flying in an airplane like that if you're not prepared. If you're a passenger, see, they do make 2-seat versions of airplanes like this and similar. And if you ever want to have a roller coaster ride in the sky, this is the way to do it.
Would you co-pilot a plane like that? I mean, him doing all that?
Absolutely. I've done similar things and loved every minute of it. It's so cool and great to see. I can tell you, here he is diving back down, making a lot of noise and a lot of smoke.
Okay.
Great thing today, we've got the winds are actually pushing some of the smoke out of the way. Yesterday we had some of the smoke just hanging right over the field. We had light winds after the storm, so some of the smoke just hung with us. You could see him just going top over bottom, tail over nose as he continues to do his performance.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, just 1 second. They wanted me to pass along that the parking lot off of 74th Street is full, so the only gates you can enter right now that are not full, this is off Douglas, by the way, Riscosi, Lancer, and Liberator. So there's still some spots left if you're still trying to make it out.
All right. Well, that tells me that people are seeing the show from outside the gate, and they're all trying to come in, and that's exactly what we want. We're encouraging everybody to carpool and make sure that all the seats are full in their cars. Our biggest problem is parking. We can handle a lot of people, but the problem is parking. Where do we park all those vehicles? So we want to make sure that everybody can get in here. So carpool together, bring your drinks, bring your sunscreen, and most importantly, bring your hats if you're a guy like me. You need some sun protection.
Got my hat, that's right, I'm ready.
And also be sure to hydrate. We're encouraging everybody to hydrate. We have water stations set up out here for a cold drink if you want. And of course we're selling, we've got vendors that are selling drinks and food and souvenirs.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a cool souvenir of the Blue Angels or one of the demo teams, or some of these acts like Adam Baker Aerobatics, they're selling souvenirs. So you can come out here and make sure you get a performer hat to cover up if you've forgotten your hat.
Yeah,
Look at Adam Baker here as he basically stops in midair and hangs airplane does a stall, and now he's coming back down. He's just holding it up. He's going to pull it back around. He's adding power to that engine as he comes back down, just to bring that nose back up. It's amazing. You wouldn't believe the science involved, Jeff, with flying, the weather. You know all about the weather, of course,
yeah.
but the science involved in flying and the mathematics background you need to have. It's amazing thing to.
And science is a lot. I mean, a lot of it's guessing too. Obviously, I mean, you make educated guesses
Sure.
on these things. So, are the pilots, really guessing on a lot of things?
Well,
as far as what the aircraft can do.
They know the edge of the envelope for their aircraft, and here we go for a high-speed pass for photos.
Thanks, guys. We're here with Melanie Green.
He likes to show off the top of that wing. He's a real show-off, if you can't tell. This goes into the vertical here. But yeah, it's but a lot of it is knowing the airplane and the performance of the airplane, your capabilities as a pilot, and then going out and adjusting to the current conditions for weather and altitude. It's amazing because the airplane's going to perform differently at different altitudes.
Yeah,
so
speaking
we're going
of
to
science,
kick right now. Go ahead.
Okay, I wasn't sure where we're going. So watching this going on. But since you talked about science and everything like that, we happen to have a package on the science, technology, engineering, and math there at STEM City, and we're going to go to that right now.
Thanks, guys. We're here with Melanie Greenwood, the STEM coordinator for Gordon Cooper Technology Center in Shawnee. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks so much. I'm excited to be here.
So the big question. First of all, we're at the Air and Space Show, but this is the first time we have ever had a STEM City hangar at the Air and Space Show. But the big question is, what exactly is STEM?
It's a great question. STEM's a hot topic right now. Parents want to know about it. Communities want to know about it. Kids can tell you it's science, technology, engineering, and math. We have science standards, we have math standards, but STEM is really putting those together through an engineering piece, using technology, creating technology, or learning how to pull those things all together into one experience.
Gosh, so important for the local Oklahoma communities and the youth in the local areas. Can you tell me why events like this are so important for our youth?
You know, this year alone, there were 81,000 STEM-related jobs in Oklahoma. And so places like Tinker, we know that we have to reach out and to start grabbing those kids at an earlier age to make sure that they know that they are 3 times more likely to land a job right here if they go into a STEM field, and to also double their wages. And so it's not just an education issue, it's an economic issue.
Perfect. So we took a little tour around the hangar, and we got to see a lot of the exhibits. Can you tell the guests what they'll see if they come out here to STEM City?
You bet. It's been an amazing job that we have a big variety in here. We have robotics stations, and if you don't know about robotics fits right into the engineering piece. Students learn how to code, and if you don't know what coding is, ask kids, because they speak code every day. Kindergartners can learn how to program things, and then they move right into CAD programming that works right into going into an engineering field.
Wow. So if there's one thing you wanted everyone to know out there that's listening, what is one thing you'd like to pass on to our folks that are listening about STEM?
Get involved. Find a STEM camp. Talk to your school. What STEM programs do you have going on? Go to your career techs. Work with your schools. Find the things that are going on, because kids need to know even earlier than, waiting until high school, it's too late. We want to get them involved and get them out looking for jobs right here in Oklahoma that involve STEM.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and we're happy to be out here at the STEM City. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please come out here to STEM City. And with that, back to you guys.
Welcome back, everyone. We've had a lot of great guests here today, a lot of special guests, but I'm really excited about this one too. This is Captain Mike Black. He's the commander of Strategic Communication Wing 1 here at Tinker Air Force Base. Captain, thank you so much for joining us, sir. We really appreciate you being here.
No, absolutely, and I'll tell you, we could not have had a better weather day today, so great job by the weather team on weather cooperating. Fantastic day here at Tinker, and great to be part of a great air show here in 2019.
How are you part of it, sir?
So you bet. So the Navy here at Tinker, we've been stationed here for 26 years. We got here, coming up our 27th year this year. stationed here starting in 1992. We've got about 1,400 sailors stationed here at Tinker Air Force Base. We fly the E-6B Mercury, so those big white 707s you see flying around town. We've got all 16 E-6Bs in the fleet, all stationed here at Tinker. And again, about 1,400 sailors here stationed as well. And we're really excited this week because we've got an Oklahoma City Navy Week that's going on. So we've had folks in town here from the a fast attack submarine, the USS Oklahoma City, home ported in Guam. So we've had 4 of those sailors here. We've had members of the Navy Band out doing various events around town. We've had Oklahoma's own Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Admiral Greg Slavonic, has been here in town this week. And then most importantly, we've had the Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels, coming in town this week from Pensacola. So it's a great Navy week here at Tinker.
How long have you been in Oklahoma?
So the E6, the plane that I fly, is only stationed here in Oklahoma. So this is my 4th tour here in Oklahoma. So I actually got stationed here for the first time back in 1996.
Wow.
I'm going to date myself a little bit. I've been in the Navy for about 26 years, and 16 of those fantastic years I've been stationed right here at Tinker Air Force Base over 4 different tours.
Yeah. And is that a happy accident, or have you requested to come back, or how has that worked out?
So for the Navy, we're pretty parochial in that the aircraft you select out of flight school, you'll end up staying with that type model series aircraft your whole career as you move up from being a young a lieutenant flying the aircraft up to being a lieutenant commander, a department head, a squadron commander, and then now as the wing commander of Stratcom Wing 1.
Oh, this is great. What's been your favorite part, or your favorite adventure here so far?
So I'll tell you, career-wise in the Navy, I'd say after September 11th, I had the privilege of going out and serving on the USS Enterprise. So we got to go ahead and deploy out in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom. So that was an amazing opportunity to go ahead and deploy overseas, see amazing ports of call. That's been an amazing one. The other one I'd say here, specifically being as an E6 pilot stationed here at Tinker, is just getting to fly with the men and women on the crew that we get to serve with every day. I'll tell you that every tour, it seems like they're getting a little bit younger. I think maybe in reality I'm getting a little bit older. But the men and women that go ahead and join the armed forces, Air Force, Navy, absolutely fantastic. The best our nation has to offer. And getting a chance to fly with them and now getting a chance to lead them has been probably the best experience of my naval career.
That's great. Well, can you tell us a little bit about the mission of your unit?
You bet, absolutely. So the E6B, so we do nuclear command and control. So we provide the survivable, reliable, and endurable command and control between the President of the United States and our nation's nuclear forces. And it's a mission that's critically important because if you're going to have a strategic deterrent, which is really the backbone of our national defense, you've got to be able to have that communications in place, that the President is always in constant communications with those forces. So we've got crews on alert 24/7, 365, stationed both out on the West Coast supporting all the nuclear forces, but primarily out of the West Coast, out of Travis Air Force Base, just outside of Sacramento, supporting a fleet ballistic missile submarines on the West Coast, out of Pax River Naval Air Station, here supporting our East Coast fleet ballistic missile submarines, and then right up in Omaha at Offutt Air Force Base, supporting United States Strategic Command. And in addition to doing a relay mission, and our real bread and butter, what makes the jet really unique is the way we'll communicate is via a very long frequency antenna and a VLF antenna. And one of the ones is that's got a very great distance to communicate. One of the problems is it needs a very large antenna to communicate. So we actually have an over 5 mile long antenna that we'll go ahead and pay out the back of the airplane. One is over 5 miles long, the other one's over a mile long. And we'll go ahead and communicate and transmit our emergency action messages, or EAMs, again, between the National Command Authority, the President, and those nations' nuclear forces.
So what flight level are you at when you drop that 5 miles down?
So absolutely. So first one is we'll only do it over the water. Again, so we'll go out to the coast or down to the Gulf to do it. So really it depends on the frequency. So if we've got about a 20,000 foot wire, we'll be up at about 18,000 foot. And what we'll do is, and I'm a pilot, I got to talk with my hands at least once, but we'll put those flaps down to about 20 degrees. We'll slow the jet down to about 3 to 4 knots above stall speed. We'll get it turned at about 20, 30 degrees angle of bank, and we'll get those wires to basically stall behind the airplane such that about 70% of the wire is vertical. So you combine that with about a 200,000 kilowatt power amplifier. So then you got the world's most powerful airborne radio station with the world's most tallest radio tower, and we'll go booming off the East Coast, and we can be heard doggone halfway around the globe.
Wow, that barely makes sense, you know? It's hard to comprehend that, it really is. So what kind of training, as far as, you have your pilot training and everything like that, but to go to that extent, to do what you're talking about, I mean, how much training is involved in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the ones that's special with us here at Tinker, and being the only platform that flies E6s in the Navy, the heavy 707s, so we've got all of that right here at Tinker Air Force Base. So from our maintainers that get some initial basic training down on maintenance down at Naval Air Station, Pensacola in Florida, they do all that follow-on training right here at Tinker. Our pilots, our air crew, all of that training is conducted right here at Tinker. So we've got a training squadron here. We've got 2 operational squadrons and 1 training squadron here at Tinker. So our training squadron, VQ7, the Roughnecks, all of our air crew and our flyers will check into that squadron and go through about 6 to 9 months of training on how to go ahead and learn all the systems and how to tactically employ the jet. And then once you get to your squadron, you're earning those follow-on level of qualifications. So we've got a weapons school that we've got, a TACAMO weapons school that will actually be standing up later this summer to help codify all those advanced tactics and techniques and procedures here. But all that training, incredible amount of training for the guys. Again, very technical mission from both maintaining the jet, very unique systems. Like I said, those 5-mile-long antennas.
Now, another thing is, being here at Oklahoma City, at Tinker, you have the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex right here in your backyard. They play a part in helping your maintainers learn what they're doing. They provide support to you too, don't they?
Absolutely. So when we got, one of the major reasons we relocated here back in 1992 was that we were starting to get the E6B Mercury that we were fielding at that time, and the ability to be co-located with the 707 Center of Excellence for the Air Force and the Air Logistics Center here. So the Air Logistics Center is those pros that know exactly every in and out and every nook and cranny of a 7.0, help come over, work with our maintainers, and then all of our depot level maintenance is done by the Air Logistics Center here as well, taking care of these airplanes and keeping them flying.
A great partnership here, and that's good.
No, absolutely, and we talk a lot about Team Tinker, and I know you guys have here on Tinker TV over the couple of days. It really is a team out here. So Colonel Bell, the 72nd Air Base Wing, the 552, and my AWACS brothers and sisters, Stratcom Wing 1, and the 507th, the Air Refueling Wing, an incredible team here of capabilities, and such diverse capabilities too. Talking about from air refueling to nuclear command and control in my world, all the way to air combat command and control for the 552. An incredible group of professionals here, and I know I said it before, talking about getting a chance to serve with just some of the best that our country has to offer. They truly are. The airmen and the sailors here at Tinker, second to none. Just absolutely fantastic.
And you've had great support from the local community too for your organization.
Well, I'll tell you one thing as well. I've been stationed, I think my wife and I, we've done 13 moves in 26 years. But being here at Tinker and the support that we get from the local community, unbelievable. So neighbors, the friends that you make, the local community and the businesses that support our sailors, it's absolutely fantastic. So, and please allow me to say this here to the local Oklahoma community, having been stationed in DC, Pensacola, all around the globe. Again, the support from the folks here in Oklahoma, it's just fantastic. They truly take care of their men and women that serve our nation.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for taking time to be out here. I know you're looking forward to seeing the Blue Angels perform later on this afternoon, and we do too, and everybody out there, the featured attraction. And we want to thank you for stopping by on a busy day. So good luck to all your folks out here. I know you got some Navy assets out here with the Navy. We got an F-35C.
We do. So you bet, the Navy's newest strike fighter, the F-35. We've got 2 of those out here, and it is just an absolutely great day. So please, if you're not out, come on down to Tinker Air Force Base. We got great weather today, there, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I wish I would take responsibility for that, but I have to take responsibility for the bad weather yesterday too. So I try to step off from that, but I tell you what, you're right, sir. This is perfect weather for anything. I know we have a lot of cloud cover, but it's high deck cloud cover, and it's working out great for everybody so far. And then we're about to toss to a package right now to the kids zone that we have. But before I let you go, Could you tell any of the kids or young adults that are watching right now, I mean, what kind of words of inspiration would you offer to them if, if they want to be a naval pilot or do what you do?
Yeah, you bet. The first one I'd say is that it's all about, when you're going through school, studying as hard as you can and keeping as many doors open to yourself as you can. The Navy's got some tremendous opportunities. We've got opportunities to go to the United States Naval Academy, Naval ROTC scholarships, Officer Candidate School. I was a Naval ROTC student a couple of years ago, and I'll share with you that the opportunity to go ahead and fly for the United States Navy has just been, anything you can do where you love it and they're going to pay you to do it.
Yeah.
You got a winning job, and for me, get paid to be a naval aviator and go and fly with some of the greatest men and women in our country. It's just been a great ride.
Well, sir, you clearly love what you do, and we love you for doing it, sir. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Captain Mike Black is joining us here today, and he's going to be here all day. And if you come out, you can meet great people and great patriots like the captain here. And we are going to toss to the kids zone right now. That's another big part and huge part of this air show. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Let's get one more final round of applause for our jumpers today.
All right, thanks, guys. We are here at the Tinker Air Force Base Air and Space Show Kids Zone, and we are here with Tech Sergeant Russell White from the 205th Engineering Installation Squadron. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, sir.
It's awesome to see you guys and your kids. I saw you guys at the Bouncy Castle earlier. Can you tell me a little bit about what so far has been yours in the children's best part of the air show so far?
I think the Kids Zone here, just overall, I mean, they've had fun in the Bouncy Castle, of course, and then also there's slides and other things that they're really liking. So.
Hey, buddy, what's been your favorite part? Have you had a good time so far? Yeah. That's so cool. Well, I mean, there's tons of things to do out here. Bouncy castles. There's a little bit of weather coming in, but that's not going to cancel us. So if you want to join us out here at the Kids Zone, at Tinker Air Force Base Air and Space Show, is there anything else you wanted to add, sir?
No, it's pretty much about it. We just really enjoy watching all the things going on in the air, and then, of course, looking at the static displays here on the ground. It's been a great experience.
Awesome. Thanks for taking the time, and you guys have a great time.
Right, thanks, sir.
Thanks. All right, with that, back to you guys.
Okay, we're back.
Deep in conversation.
Deep in conversation with our next guest. We have with us Colonel Trinkle, who is the commander of the 72nd Medical Group here at Tinker. And she's going to talk all about the med group out here today and the important job that they have in trying to keep everybody safe so they can enjoy the air show. So, Colonel, welcome to the set. Tell us, what are your folks doing out here today?
Well, we've got about 147 folks out here just trying to keep people safe, observing for any type of heat-related injuries that are going on. It's about 85 degrees out here right now, but the cement is starting to heat up. Yeah. And if you're sitting out in the sun for very long, it's very easy to get overheated. The biggest thing you can do to prevent this is to get into the shade, drink lots of water, preferably, and settle down. Don't be walking around a lot. You got to just kind of sit down and cool off. If you think you're getting to a point where you're getting dizzy, lightheaded, we've got tons of roving medics out there that are wearing the Red Cross armbands. Get a hold of one of them, flag them down, let them take a look at you. We've got misters over in the med tent to take care of you. We can get you over there, get you cooled off, as well as if you get injured out here, scrapes, bumps, bruises, fall down, please flag us down. We're here to help you so that you can enjoy this great event out here.
Well, I'll have to say that
Ron took a little,
Yes, I took advantage of that because we were walking. Jeff and I were checking out some of the places.
He pushed a mom and a baby out of the way of a moving golf cart, and he saved them, and Ron went down, and it was it's more to the story than that.
Yeah, there is a lot more to the story than that. But anyway, I was bleeding and didn't even realize it. And one of our air show members here, one of the people came by and said, "Sir, do you know you're bleeding?" And I said, "No." And there I had blood running down my arm. And sure enough, just fortuitous for me, one of the pairs of your medics were walking by, and I said, "Hey, do you have a Band-Aid?" They came over, they washed it and that, and I was waiting for them to throw me on a gurney and take me away, but I talked them out of it. So, but they were great, and like I say, They're out and about. You'll notice, see the red cross on the arm? That's the person you want to go up to if you're feeling dizzy, you know, and they can help you out. Like I said, they have a med tent, the misters. I think we ought to go check out the misters myself.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt at all. But we want to thank you and all your people for coming out here and doing this, and help making this a great air show, to make it safe for everybody that comes out. And thank you very much for your service.
Thank
we love
you.
it.
This is what we like
All
to do.
right.
Thanks, Colonel.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Colonel.
you.
Now we've got up in the air, I do believe we got Doc flying around, the B-29. There he is. That's an amazing super fortress.
That is so much fun.
One
to
of
watch
only
run.
2 that are still flying in the world today. And there's quite a story behind that if you check out on our website about the Doc. I think it was like the last 16 years it's been undergoing refurbishing to get back into flying status. Even we're going to bring Greg Davis back in. He can tell us more about Doc. But it's been around. In fact, you had some information about Doc after he flew during World War II, and then after the war, it
sat
out in
around
the
for like
Mojave
40-something
Desert
years.
for like 42 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And it didn't that.
Yeah, I got it. It's really, Doc comes to us from Wichita, Kansas. He was built in 1944 and restored and returned to flight just a few years ago in 2016. So Doc's pilot today is Command Mark Novak. Second in command is Ken Newell, flight engineer Doc O'Brighter. And I tell you, Doc is owned and operated by Doc's Friends. It's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to honor the greatest generation, educate future generations, and connect people with the rich heritage history of the B-29 Super Fortress.
And right. Hey, Greg, what are we seeing now?
Well, we were just seeing the P-51 Mustang. This is Greg Davis with 72nd Air Base Wing Public Affairs at Tinker Air Force Base. Happy to be back with you guys, and we're watching the B-29 Strato Fortress overhead. A beautiful aluminum skinned airplane, highly polished, and as you were saying, it's based up in Wichita. Not too far of a jaunt for them to come down and be with us. But I'll tell you what, that nonprofit they have is everybody that's interested should go and support them. They've got a beautiful hangar that they not only display the airplane in, but they also do the routine maintenance, and it's a wonderful facility. The great volunteers up there. It took years of restoration to get this airplane back into flying shape, and as the aircraft comes back with 4 radial engines, come back in front of the show center, he's going to level out, and you'll hear those propellers as it goes by. And boy, I'll tell you, it was only 2 days ago that for the first time in about 50 years, we had a B-29 landing at Tinker Air Force Base.
And a B-29 is, in the history of Tinker Air Force Base, they did modifications on the B-29 here in World War II, especially on the B-29 known as the Enola Gay. And we know that it dropped the first hydrogen bomb in World War II on Hiroshima. But the work was done here at Tinker to prepare that aircraft because it's quite a large bomb that they had to use. So a lot of changes had to be made. And all that work was done here at Tinker before it deployed overseas. And of course they worked on other B-29s and modified them as they were upgraded as the war went on. We also have, as I mentioned yesterday, we have an urban legend. We have a B-29 propeller on display out by our Tinker Event Center. And we can't really confirm whether it is or not, but it is an urban legend that it was one of the props off the Enola Gay when it was going through modification. They had to put new props that were on there to adjust for the additional bomb load. They had to have stronger, bigger engines, and they had to have bigger props to work on it. And that. Right. So that's a little bit of history there.
I choose to believe that. I really do.
Okay.
But like we were mentioning before, like 42 years, Doc is a miracle. He sat in the Mojave Desert serving as a target for the U.S. Navy. In 1987, Tony Mazzolini found Doc and began plans to remove him and eventually restore the B-29 Warbird to flying status. That's as good as it gets. That's just such a great
story. As you can see, the work and dedication they put into restoring it, it's a beautiful aircraft for as old as she is. It's fantastic, isn't
That's
it?
right.
Looks great.
Right now we're going to switch to a package on, looks like the B-29, and we're going to give you a little more information. Here we go.
All right, thanks again, guys. We got a lot of heritage out here, and we got a lot of docks, but not any dock quite like this. We're here with Mark Novak, the chief pilot of the B-29. Doc, tell me about this aircraft, man.
Well, this is one of only 2 B-29s that are currently flying. It underwent a 16-year restoration, and in 2016 it flew for the first time in 60 years.
Only two of these are flying, right?
Only 2 out of over 3,600 built. And Fifi was the first, and Fifi has been flying since the early 70s. And then Doc was found in the late 80s, and it took about 10 years of negotiation to get it out of it was actually in Navy possession, to get out of the Navy desert storage, and it was brought to Wichita in the year 2000, and 16 hard years of work, and it finally flew.
It is amazing aircraft, like many aircraft out here, but definitely unique. Do you have a story behind the name, Doc?
Yeah, Doc is, the plane was built in delivered to the Air Force in March of 45, and was shifted around different squadrons, didn't make it to combat. But in the early 50s, it was assigned to a radar calibration squadron that had 8 aircraft, and that squadron became known as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So the airplanes each had a nose art from each of the Disney Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, that's one of the awesome things about aircraft, and being an aviation enthusiast like we are, all of us that are out here. We've seen a theme with Doc and the Snow White. Aviation art is just something else. What are these folks going to see besides the aviation art in this jet?
Oh, we're actually going to go out and fly. We'll be flying here a little after lunchtime, and they have a warbird area, so there will be the B-29, a B-25, a P-51. We'll do a little roundy rounds and show the airplane, put it up on the side to get some great pictures. The sound is amazing. The engines are 2,200 horsepower each, so you get almost 9,000 horsepower out there roaring down the runway.
That's a lot of power. Well, thanks for the time. Anything else you want to add to the audience?
No, DOC is a nonprofit based in Wichita, Kansas. We have our own museum. If you're ever in Wichita, come up and see us.
Awesome. We will do that. Wichita, I'm on my way, man. That's it from here. Doc, this is one of the features of the Tinker Air and Space show that are it's just amazing. Past, present, future, this part of our past. Come on out here. With that, we're going to take it back to you guys.
All right, and here we are back. Thanks very much, Major John Quinlan with the 507th Air Refueling Wing Public Affairs Office, telling us a little bit more about DOC, beautiful B-29 Super Fortress that we have here, not only on static display today, but also flying in the skies above. We also have going in front of the crowds B-25 and a North American P-51 Mustang, which they've been beating up the air show scene for a little while, keeping everybody entertained. You can see the B-29 turning in. It's got his landing gear down, going to put it down on our long runway. It's amazing. The B-29 had to have long runways, so that was instrumental in part of the design of our island campaign, our island hopping campaign in the Pacific, as we took over islands to be able to build airfields on these small islands and bring us closer to Japan, because these B-29s had to have they had long range, but when you're talking about distances of thousands of miles over the Pacific, each island was instrumental that we took. So as we moved closer and closer, it brought us closer to victory. And of course, the B-29 was the ultimate bomber, if you will, by dropping the 2 nuclear bombs on Japan and subsequently ending the war. But as the B-29 rolls out, I wanted to kick it back to you, Jeff, and tell us about what we've got coming up for the weather today.
Yeah, well, I wanted to thank you, Greg, also, because what you're giving out here on Facebook and during this live broadcast, you don't get that kind of information here in the crowd. So you're missing a little bit not being in the crowd, just the whole atmosphere and getting to be close to the aircraft and the static aircraft and everything. But you're providing an amazing amount of history. And Ron is too. We thank you guys both for doing that. Sure. And so, I mean, I'll throw some weather out there too. And the good news is that, unlike yesterday, it was about this time yesterday that we started seeking shelter, or not started, we were thinking about it. It was about 2 o'clock when those storms rolled in here, which is about 20 minutes from now yesterday. And we don't have to worry about that today. There's not a drop of rain in the sky. There's not a shower. There's not a thunderstorm going on right now. And that still would kind of concern you in the summer months when it's hot and humid like that. We get those pop-up thunderstorms. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen today, which is great news because we have so many great acts still yet to come. Now, of course, the one hazard that we've been talking about yesterday was the wind and the hail and all that stuff and the lightning. And then we had a heat hazard yesterday too. And then we still have that again today. So with the lack of rain and the lack of wind, now we're going to refer and go back to the heat because right now it's 85 degrees and the dew point's about 65, which makes the heat index about 2 or 3 degrees higher than the actual temperature. So when you see 86, it's really 89. When you see 87, it's really 90. And it's only 1:30, and it being 85 degrees, more than likely we're going to be right around 90, so it's going to feel like the low 90s. And of course, when you're on this concrete and asphalt here, it's going to feel and be a lot hotter than that. So if you're coming out, please make sure you hydrate, get your sunscreen going too, and take your shade. We have misters all over the place. And as far as the weather is concerned, you see some white puffy fair weather clouds, but the high deck of clouds that we have, those high thin cirrus clouds, gives us that nice milky white or blue sky. It's a beautiful sky that we have here today, even with all the cloud cover, and it's a beautiful backdrop for all the aircraft that we have going on. And still, we're just in the middle of all this thing, Greg. We started at 11 o'clock. It's only 1:30.
Sure.
And we haven't even peaked yet, so we have all the good stuff yet to come.
Well, I see a nice crowd shot from our cameraman showing everybody's wearing hats and they've got some umbrellas out there protecting from the sun. So this is a real good idea, and make sure that everybody's staying hydrated. So we want to make sure that that everybody gets the message about that and stays hydrated.
Everyone's doing a great job so far. We just had Colonel Trinkle here, and she's like,
yeah, she really told us about the staying hydrated and sun protection and heat stroke, and we had her on yesterday. She's a great lady. I'll tell you, she knows her stuff, and she's making sure that everybody's out here. She's got a great team of professionals, not only of officers but of airmen out here. They all have the Red Cross armbands. So if you're out in the crowd and you see them and you need some assistance or even some advice of where to find some cold water, they'll be happy to help you. So make sure that you make your way up to them and get taken care of by our medical professionals from the 72nd
we have
Medical
smoothies,
Group.
we have snow cones, there's ice cream here too on top of the cold water, but of course the cold water is the best way to go. And we've been having special guests in and out of here all day, and I'm excited to show you and talk to you about the guests that we're about to bring to you, not just right now, but in a second. We're kind of setting up for that right now, and that's also why we're showing you the crowd. We're in between air acts too, and we still have the Blue Angels coming up here pretty soon. We have the F-16 Vipers, and man, you can't miss that. And everything we've seen so far today, Greg, and between now and what we're about to see.
Well, what you're showing right now is the F-16 Viper demo team, and you know, it's not only the air act, the F-16 going up and being flown to the edge of the envelope by our new pilot Toro, but also the ground crew and the enlisted air crew members who are actually enlisted mechanics and crew members that take care of that airplane, not only at home station for them at the 20th Fighter Wing at Shaw, but also while they're on the road. So this is a major deal to have all of these the folks come and entertain our hundreds of thousands of people that we have out here. They put on a great show. They're going to show you not only precision in the air, but precision on the ground as the mechanics launch, and the crew chiefs is what we call them, as they launch the jet, get everybody excited. The jet's going to taxi out here in a minute and then do a maximum performance takeoff, really show what the jet's capable of. It's something to watch, I'll tell you.
I know. It's a small part, but it's one of the best parts of the whole air show, Greg, and you have to have this whole team come together and be able to put on the act. It's just not, again, like the pilot, like you were talking about. There's so much more involved in that. And we have a huge bit of history that we want to go to right now. We have a Pearl Harbor survivor with us right now. And it's Mr. Bob Cowles. He was in the Marine Infantry, and he is with us right now.
Bob, good to meet you, sir. Yes, sir. You'll hold the mic up a little bit.
Okay.
There we go. Right here. So, tell us about your service and your day of December 7th, 1941.
All right. It began, really. I was in Hawaii for some time before that, and we thought we were just in the safest place in the world, because it was getting so exciting over in Europe and all the problems they were having. But so we were just really happy with that, and then it's kind of a surprise,
Where were you on the day of the attack?
On the Marine Corps barracks, right on the middle of the field, and the fence going to the Army Air Base there was right behind our barracks, and when the attack started, I was just so overwhelmed with the racket. Am I too close to it? And I bailed out. I had a hangover from the night before. But anyway, I just, when the bomb started falling, I just grabbed my skivvies and my rifle, ran barefooted down the stairway to the field where some other Marines were gathered, and we started firing at the planes that were strafing Hickam Field. And I shot one of them, I think, and hit it pretty hard, but it kind of quivered and then went on because he was already in his diving position.
Okay.
And
so what kind of actions did y'all take after the attack was over?
we had a hell of a time trying to put up with that. That night was worse than the attack itself because we were so worried that they were landing. The Japanese made an awful mistake when they didn't take out our oil field supply, because we supplied all of the fuel for the whole Pacific area, aircraft and boats and everything. And they didn't bomb that at all. Everything all right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're interested in your story.
All right. Anyway, it was just a really worrisome thing to us because we thought maybe they were planning invasion, and that was the big worry.
Sure.
Not the bombing, but the fact they were landing Japanese, and so we were really prepared for that overnight. Just worked on it.
What about in the following days and weeks? What did you do, and what kind of orders did you eventually get?
Well, we were pretty much just trying to barrel down and not get a whole lot of news and things that we weren't doing, and started shipping people out. And that was when we were getting some Marines to go to Guadalcanal to make our first offensive attack. But really what was important was the fact that we were trying to get organized and go from being a monitoring thing, and taking care of the Hickam Field and Marine Corps and Navy Yard. And we just worked on that all the time.
Okay.
But of course there were so many casualties, and I know I had a little Model A Ford coupe that I had parked right there behind the barracks, and I could drive around to see the damage of everything and just observe everything and see all the things that had happened, and the oil from the ships that had sunk was covering the harbor, and people were swimming in it and screaming and hollering, trying to get a ride back to shore or anywhere. So
Well, they say it's a day that'll live in infamy. I'm sure you've never forgotten it. Sounds like you have some strong memories from that day. Did you lose any friends personally?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We lost a lot of servicemen that day.
Yeah, I'll say. What was really a strange thing was the Navy started firing their ship broadside guns, 5 and 8 inchers and all that.
Sure.
They were firing them, trying to hit a low flying plane, but what they weren't thinking about was that they had to land somewhere, and it was in Honolulu that they landed, and all the newspapers jumped on that and said the Japs had bombed Honolulu, and it was really us, just, bombs coming down. So we were aware of that. And
so I understand you have a little memento of Pearl Harbor somewhere on you.
Yeah.
What kind of tattoo do you have? Did you get that right after the event? Right before.
The night before. That's why I had the hangover.
I see.
I think the story is that someone told me earlier that he had the tattoo, and you asked it to be dated on December 6th.
Well, the tattooer told me to do that. He said, you'll want to remember today. And that, of course, I reported that to my commanding officer, and they sent a patrol out and locked him up, right away.
Wow.
That was the end of the way it hit.
Well, I wonder if you couldn't roll your sleeve up a little bit and show us the tattoo a little closer so we can see that. Maybe turn a little bit so we can see your arm and we can see that tattoo from Pearl Harbor the day before
That's
the attack.
That's amazing.
December 6, 1941. Right.
Did you design that, sir? Did you design the tattoo? Did you want the palm tree and then how it looks?
I picked out the one she had from Okay.
Well, that's great to see. We're glad you made it, sir. Thank you for your time and your service to our country. And we're very privileged that you could make it up. I understand you worked here at Tinker for a number of years.
No, I didn't, but I never worked at Tinker, but I came out here. I was one of the ones that started this show. We were.
Oh, okay. That's their association.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's great to see you. We're going to let you get on and enjoy the show. We've got great acts going on. You probably recognize some of the airplanes flying by.
Yeah. Hey, sir, could you mind staying here for a second? Because I'm going to toss to a package, but we want to get a picture with you before you. We're afraid if you take off, we may not get to see you again.
That is true.
Look at it. He's got the grumpy old Marine T-shirt on, and I love that. Who are you, ma'am?
I'm his
Daughter.
daughter.
How many children have you had, sir? Two? That's awesome. Well, Mr. Bob Cowles, Pearl Harbor survivor, can't thank him enough. He's 97, right, sir? And thank you so much for joining us. We're going to toss to a package right now, and we're going to learn a lot more about the P-51s.
Guys, a lot of heritage on this Tinker Air Force Base ramp today. We are joined with Brent Heisey and his P-51D Mustang. Thanks for being here today, sir.
Oh, thanks. We always look forward to the Tinker Show, where the hospitality is great, and it's going to be a great show for all the fans.
It sure is, and this is one of those fighter aircraft that I am a huge fan of. Can you tell me a little bit about the P-51 Mustang?
The P-51 Mustang was designed as a long-range escort for the bomber force in Europe before the Mustang came into service in late 43 and early 44. The 8th Air Force was being decimated by the German fighter force. In fact, their losses were unsustainable to continue the war. Once the Mustang came into the play, then they could escort the bombers all the way to the targets and back. They'd fight their way in, fight their way out. Loss rate dramatically dropped. So the Mustang really was a pivotal player in winning the European Air War.
Yeah, and this aircraft definitely saved a lot of lives, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it certainly did. The bomber crews were very thankful every time a Mustang showed up on its wing.
Definitely. It's a beautiful aircraft. I understand you'll be flying it today as well. Can you tell me a little bit about your performance today?
Yeah, today we'll be flying in a 3-ship formation with the B-25 and the B-29. We'll be doing orbits out in front of the crowd, and they'll get to see these airplanes, and more importantly, they'll get to hear them live, which is a sound that is unlike any other aircraft.
Yeah, that is definitely a distinctive sound you hear from this jet, and it's an honor. I appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything you want to add about your rollout here, or anything else you want to add to the audience?
Well, we're just happy to show the folks what the history of the Air Force is. I mean, it's a magnificent history of patriotism, of leadership, and of people willing to put their lives on the line to defend our country. It's a real privilege to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your service. And with that, heritage on the ramp. That's what we're talking about right here at Tinker Air Force Base Air and Space Show. And with that, back to you guys.
Major Smith repositions his aircraft and demonstrates the low-altitude, high-speed capability of the F-16. As he passes Show Center, he'll be traveling just under the speed of sound at 700 miles per hour. That's less than half the Viper's top speed of Mach 2.
Send it! As he returns to Show Center, Major Schmitz will accelerate rapidly and snap the F-16 through a series of aileron rolls, demonstrating its exceptional roll maneuverability. Dropping in from the left, Toro and the triple roll.
In a dogfight, the ability to turn tight is crucial. Watch now as Toro shows you just how exceptional the F-16 is in a 9G turn. At Show Center, he'll bank sharply and accelerate through a tight turn, pressing him in the seat with a force of 9 times his normal weight, or 9 Gs. Major Smith will now demonstrate the F-16's crisp handling characteristics as he performs a 4-point roll at Show Center, pausing briefly at each 90-degree increment. Notice the precision at which these individual movements are executed. In from the left, the F-16 and the 4-point roll.
And now, one more time from your right, watch as Toro unleashes a sound of freedom. He will flirt with the sound barriers across the Show Center at 950 feet per second. Let's check in with him to see how fast he gets going.
Tinker, here comes the feed. There's 300. 400.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we like to call hauling the mail. As he approaches show left, Major Schmitz will set up for a series of maneuvers which will demonstrate the F-16's ability to turn tight and stay unpredictable, a trait which helps the Viper survive against low-altitude threats. He will then quickly transition from horizontal flight into the vertical. Ladies and gentlemen, from your left, it's the Falcon turn. Major Schmitz is now slowing the F-16 to prepare for a slow-speed, high-alpha pass. While the Viper can fly at more than twice the speed of sound, slow-speed controls just for those who fly it. High-alpha refers to the high angle of attack at which the aircraft will be flying. Toro will be holding the Viper at 23 degrees, nose-up position, and only moving 120 miles per hour. As he approaches, notice a gray paint scheme of the F-16. One that is designed to make it more difficult to identify in conditions ranging from bright sky to dull overcast. When he reaches show center, Toro will apply full afterburner and accelerate his aircraft into a nearly vertical climb, demonstrating the F-16's awesome thrust-to-weight ratio and a maneuver we proudly call the rocket launch.
All right, everybody, get those cameras ready as Major Schmitz prepares to demonstrate the combination of thrust and digital flight control systems that make the knife edge maneuver possible. From your right, the F-16 and the knife edge pass.
And now watch as Toro sets up for a maximum performance climb with a series of aileron rolls. As he pulls back on the stick, you'll see the Viper's exceptional power and rolling ability as he sends it from 300 feet to over 3 miles.
Ladies and gentlemen, Major Schmitz has begun a spiraling descent in preparation for the dedication pass. Major Schmitz and the rest of the F-16 Viper demonstration team from the 20th Fighter Wing wish to dedicate this pass to the men and women from all branches of the armed forces and their families who are so bravely fighting today's joint fight. We would also like to remember our wounded warriors and veterans in attendance and those who have given their lives defending this great nation. This will be your best photo opportunity, so get your cameras ready to capture this salute. Now, from behind the crowd and to the right, the F-16 Viper demonstration team proudly presents the Dedication Pass. The Viper you see in action today is maintained by our expert team of maintenance professionals. Tech Sergeant Louis Lopez from San Bruno, California. Staff Sergeant Austin Dixon from Auburn, California. Staff Sergeant Ryan Davis from Wise, Virginia. And Staff Sergeant Trevor Griswold from Martinsville, Indiana. Our camera operator and avionics specialist is Tech Sergeant Drew Wilson from Wichita, Kansas. The team's public affairs coordinator is Senior Airman Catherine Reeves from Floresville, Texas. We'd love to see all your photos and media. Please tag us at Viper Demo Team.
Oh, well, I love a Viper demo. There's nothing like it, is there?
Not at all. As you see, the Viper demo performance is done, but Toro in his F-16 is pulling into formation with the A-1 Skyraider from the Kavanaugh Flight Museum and a P-51 Mustang. They're going to do what they call the Heritage Flight. It's a representation of 3 generations of aircraft, of Air Force aircraft that are going to pass by multiple times, thrill the crowd. It's a really cool thing that started back in about 1997 with the anniversary of the Air Force, the 50th anniversary, and it was a way they envisioned to bring history as it in front of the people and tie it together with our modern jets, because we were starting to lose the connection as some of these warbirds became rare birds, if you will. But now this has been a long-standing tradition of flying the Heritage Flight. And there's just a few qualified civilian pilots and a few qualified demo team pilots that are allowed to fly in formation like this. And they do extensive training, I can tell you, out at Davis-Monthan in the springtime every year. They all go out to Davis-Monthan and spend about a week doing what they call the Heritage Flight Training Conference. And it's a real thrill to be next to a P-51 when you're in an F-16. And the performance characteristics are totally different from those aircraft.
Yeah,
so the
that's a lot of
P-51's
history.
fast, but it's not quite F-16 fast.
Right.
So an F-16 is actually flying pretty slow in that regard. But you can see them repositioning now against our nice puffy clouds that we're starting to get in the sky. And they're going to make a return to the show line and come back through so everybody can take a picture. As they reposition, folks, I would say just a gentle reminder to make sure you've got your cameras ready, that you're ready to take some pictures, because they're going to do a banana pass here in a minute where you'll see the top side of the aircraft and be able to get some awesome photos of this historic formation.
Are they speaking to each other
in
the air?
They'll be on the same frequency talking to each other, but generally, as most formations like this are done, the lead aircraft has the lead, and everybody's flying off of him. So they don't really need to talk to each other much. They've done this quite a bit, and in fact, it's a lot easier not to talk.
Yeah.
To just hold your formation position and be a solid wingman, as we say, and be in there, make a good visual for the crowds. The spacing is critical here, as you can see as they come head on in this case toward the crowd and show the different plan forms of these aircraft. There they are. They're going to do a slight turn to the left. What a sound! The radial engine of that A1 is distinctive, as you can hear it. And
It's like that makes it 3 different sounds
That's
there.
right.
Yeah, you can hear a little bit of both. It was kind of cool.
You've got the Merlin engine from the P-51. That has a distinct roar that's world famous from World War II. And then, of course, you've got the whine of the jet from the F-16. That's a Pratt & Whitney 220 motor, I believe, powering the Block 50 F-16 from the 20th Fighter Wing. I'll tell you, it is history in sight in one picture if you're going to get it. And we've got some great cameramen focused right now as they come back around. And the wonderful thing is we've got our beautiful skyline of downtown Oklahoma City visible in the shot just there. The airplanes are coming around. They're about a few miles out. They're going to set up for a stable platform. Come on in, contrasted against the beautiful clouds we have. They're going to come through. On one of these passes, they actually do an awesome break where the lead aircraft will continue straight ahead and the other aircraft will depart in break formation and go to the sides. And that is a wonderful, wonderful picture if you've got it. So you see them flying overhead. What are your thoughts, Ron, as we look at the crowd line there? As I think we're reaching max capacity for our crowd, right?
I do believe you. I know they're saying we were around 90% of occupancy as far as capacity for cars. A little while ago, we must be getting close to 100%. So there are more people coming into gates and seeing this wonderful show today. That's an awesome sight. Like words can't even describe it all the time. It's just beautiful. It's great. A lot of opportunities for people to get some great shots. That's history. And what more can you ask for in an air show?
Well, I can tell you what more you can ask for. Following the Viper demo team and the Heritage Flight, you've got the Blue Angels, world famous Navy aerobatic demonstration team, the Blue Angels. They're going to be here performing. They should start in just a few minutes and thrill the entire crowds. Here we are with a nice banana pass in formation. This is going to be the one for your cameras, folks, as they fly overhead. Right down the runway, showing 3 generations of Air Force history in flight, in motion in front of you. What a sight to see. I'll tell you, they're going to reposition here in a minute, and this one last pass should be their breakaway pass. So if you've got your cameras, make sure they're ready to go. Get that picture as they break formation, and it's really cool to see. The Blue Angels, when they come up, they're going to be performing acts, or they're going to demonstrate maneuvers that every naval pilot learns in training. So they all learn how to fly in initial training and in advanced jet training. They will all learn these basic maneuvers that the Blue Angels do, but they do them in formation. Not something you want a student aviator to be doing, but these are highly trained professional carrier pilots with lots of experience and now turn around and once they're on the demonstration team, they're flying those airplanes with about just a few feet apart from each other. And but like I said, doing the same maneuvers that a Navy pilot is taught in initial jet training. Maneuvers such as loops, rolls, and here we go back. They position and they're going to break right overhead. There we go. Wonderful to see. So as they fly out of the frame and into the distance and set up for landing, I'll continue telling you about the Blue Angels. So nice little roll there for the A1 Skyraider. The Blue Angels perform these maneuvers, but these are, like I said, the same maneuvers that student pilots or initial jet training pilots learn, and that includes rejoins, standard formations, moving in formation, and of course changing altitudes and direction so they can turn. You'd be surprised at once you know how to do this, what you can do and concentrate and do all kinds of stuff as long as you're staying with your wingman, you don't even look outside in most cases. You're watching the instruments, watching your basic instruments, and you're watching the lead aircraft.
Because you mentioned with the distance between wings when they're in tight formation is like 18 inches.
Absolutely.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then so there's 5 aircraft, Greg. Are they the same 5 pilots that pilot like every air show? Is there a bigger crew in case one has to fall out or anything?
Well, actually, there's 6 aircraft. There's 4 primary, and then there's 2 solos, number 5 and number 6, and those are set on the team. And those are the primary display pilots. They do have other pilots that do media flights, and I believe that they can jump in if required. But in most cases, they try to stick with that integral crew.
Yeah.
Those guys, and in some cases gals, when they're on the team, are so locked in together, and they know each other so well that once you have that bond, you want to keep that, especially when you're doing some of these maneuvers. So you can tell sometimes, but in the sound of the voice of the commander, what he's looking for. If you throw somebody new in there and they're not the guy that flies every week, they may not get that cue.
Right.
But it's amazing to see, and it's amazing to know that they practice so well or so often that they know each other that well.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're in high demand too. They haven't performed here since 2007?
Yes, 2007. It's been 12 years since they were here. But I'll tell you, what a reception did they receive the other day upon arrival, and with our media folks that were lucky enough to get a ride and an introduction to high-performance jet flying.
So,
it was wonderful.
Let me ask you, your colleague got to fly.
Yes.
Did you happen to talk to her about her experience?
No. I know Emily Sutton. We've been at different events before. She's with K4, obviously, and I got to watch a little bit of the video that we posted on our Tinker Air Force Base Facebook page that she did part of her package, and she did pretty well overall. I mean, she really did, and that's really takes a lot of courage. I sent her, I tweeted her the day before when I found that she was going to do it, and I just said, basically, good luck. I don't want to say she didn't know what she was getting herself into, because it's hard to really imagine when you approach that aircraft, when you just walk up to the aircraft, it's very intimidating, and I can see how you would have second thoughts. But for her to follow through with that takes a lot of courage. That made a lot of people proud for her to complete that mission. It's amazing.
And I heard she pulled over 7 Gs.
Oof.
So that's
not
easy.
That's not kid stuff.
No, that's not kid stuff at all.
The great thing about her flight, with Emily being a weather forecaster like yourself, a meteorologist, she was able to tie in her flight to her job as a meteorologist and talk about how weather impacts our state, our nation, but also how it impacts flying.
Yeah, I was an Air Force weather forecaster too, and I had the privilege of briefing a lot of F-16 pilots, hundreds of them throughout my career. Anything from the first lieutenants and second lieutenants who went on their first flight, and even to colonels who had done their last flight. And it was just it was an honor to do that. But aviation meteorology and TV meteorology, they're 2 different things.
Sure.
Completely different.
Well, I'll tell you, we were proud to have her out here as one of the guest flyers with the Blue Angels, and what a thrill she had. I can tell you that.
Do you think she would do it again?
I would presume she would do it again now that
so,
she's gotten a taste. If she's like most people, once you have a taste of flying that type of aircraft and the performance it's capable of, she's been bitten.
You want more, yeah.
Absolutely.
There's no going back now.
That's for sure. So right now we're watching the A1 Sky Raider come around to land, it looks like. He's going to put the airplane down on the ground. You can see the airplane's configured to represent a bomb load that they would have had back in Korea or Vietnam. And that aircraft is capable of carrying all kinds of weapons. It looks like mostly they've got fuel tanks on board today, but it filled a role, a loitering role, where they were close air support, and they would come in and loiter overhead for hours and provide I knew that was going to happen. We got a sneak attack by the by the F-16 again. All right, it looks like I'm going to toss it to a package on the B-52, which is one of the aircraft that we do heavy maintenance on here at the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex and part of the Air Force Sustainment Center.
Oops, we're scratch that.
Scratch
Greg,
that?
it's not the B-52. We're going to do the B-25.
Oh, okay, sorry. We're going to go to the
switch.
That's a little different.
Totally different aircraft. It's a B-25 Mitchell medium bomber from World War II, made famous by the Doolittle Raiders, right, Ryan?
That's right, back in 1942.
Awesome.
So we're going to go to that package right now.
All right, thanks, guys. If you haven't seen it, we are in front of one of these beautiful aircraft. This is the B-25 Super Rabbit, and more importantly, the pilot and operator, Walter Bell. Thanks for coming out.
Well, thanks for having me. It's probably not more importantly, though.
Well, I mean, a plane doesn't fly without the pilot, right?
Well, that's true.
That's true. So, first of all, can you tell me a little bit about the B-25 and what will they see when they see this aircraft?
Well, this airplane was built in 1944. It didn't see service with the U.S. Air Force, but it was sold to Canada, where it was a multi-engine and instrument trainer. Then it went to the Brazilian Air Force and the Argentine Air Force. Then it went to Florida and flew air shows. Wound up in a museum, fell into disrepair, and 6 years later it was put together back here in Oklahoma City, and now it's flying again.
Well, and it looks beautiful. And tell me a little bit about the B-25's mission during World War II.
B-25 served as a medium bomber, but it also had a ground attack role. You can turn 10-50 caliber machine guns forward and raise a lot of heck on the ground.
That's a lot of firepower, right?
Exactly.
And I understand you're going to be flying this today at this air show. Can you tell me a little bit about what the guests are going to see while you're flying?
Well, yes, sir. I'll be flying it today, but we'll be flying with Doc, one of the two B-29s left on the planet, and also with Miss America, a very famous air racer.
And that is true. The theme of the Tinker Air Force Base Air Show is past, present, and future, this being part of our past. And we call this flight the Heritage Flight, I believe, right?
Exactly. Both the planes and the pilots are from the past.
Well, okay. But you look good for your age, sir.
Well, thank you.
All right, so we're here with Walter Bell having a good time at the Tinker Air Force Base Air Show B-25 Super Rabbit. It will be performing at the air show here, and hopefully you're seeing it now, or you will see it. Come on out. And with that, we're going back to you guys.
And thank you, John, for another great report. Major John Quinlan is Chief of Public Affairs for the 507 Air Refueling Wing here at Tinker. He's been doing a fantastic job giving us these little packages throughout the day. He's been out there beating the straight air in the heat, and he's doing a great job. So, John, hey, I salute you, buddy, for doing that. And we're just moments the featured act. You know, everybody's been waiting all day for the Blue Angels, and they'll be going pretty fast. And what do we have still out in the pattern? I hear things, but I can't tell.
Yeah, we got, we're still finishing up a show, I think. We're finishing up an act.
That's the Civil Air Patrol plane.
No, it looks like the twin-engine de Havilland for the
right.
Air Force Academy Wings of Blue. So they've just taken off. Looks like they're probably going to go up and do some more, kick out some more jumpers. We've got another aerobatic act. It looks like John Klatt again flying aerobatics, but not in the modified Waco this time. It's one of his high-performance aerobatic airplanes. Not exactly sure which one he's flying there, but it's definitely capable. Very similar to the Extra 300 that the Adam Baker flies. Very capable aircraft of high G's, quick maneuvers. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's a lot of fun to fly. He's really entertaining when he's flying in front of the crowd. So hopefully we see some smoke coming on from him. Of course, those aircraft could just be departing the area for now. We're not exactly sure.
Now, you just talking about high performance acrobat. Now these planes are really built to be acrobatic, not just your regular go out and fly like you do when you fly your little Cessna, but this is more just strictly for...
They're a lead-in to the type of aircraft we see taxiing now, the F-16. high performance, built specifically to do aerobatics and high performance flying. And that's like I said, sort of the lead-in type of aircraft you would learn do maneuvers on before you move into a jet or something like that. If you're capable, if you have the ability or an opportunity to fly an F-16, a lot of those skills translate very easily and well into to bringing those into the high performance jet realm, if you will. So as we watch, remember I was telling you about this is not only precision aerobatics with the F-16, but it's also a part of a ground crew. The trust that the crewman has there at the front of the nose of the airplane is intense, because as we have another airplane taxi in front from Civil Air Patrol, you will see the F-16 when we go back to it. He's going to taxi to within 1 inch of the face of the crew chief who's standing right there. And it's an impressive sight to see. They'll do a brake check real quick.
And that's just a standard with every time?
No. Well, for the demo team it is, but
Right.
they've got such trust in the pilot, the crew chief does, that they'll allow him to taxi to within 1 inch of his face. And I can tell you the pitot tube on the front of that F-16 nose is razor sharp, so it is not something you want to mess around with. And as you can see, he's slowly bringing him forward, and that pitot tube is now within 1 inch of his face. If we had a side shot, you'd be able to see probably stick a stack of nickels in between it, and he will stay there until the jet shut down, and then both the crew chief and the other mechanic that's underneath the jet who's pinning the landing gear and making sure the jet is safe, they will come out and greet the pilot and give him a salute. He'll get a salute back from from Toro, the demo team pilot. And I'll tell you what, there's a camaraderie there that and trust that's built over time that you all have to have. But it's amazing to see, especially when you're up close and you get to see these guys and know that they've just had they put the life of their pilot in their hands by all the mechanic work that they do on this F-16, and he trusts them well enough to go up and do that. So as you can see, the canopy is going to come open. They put the modified steps up to the jet. That's travel steps that they take, and Toro's going to take his harness off. He's going to quickly jump out of the jet. He may wave to the crowd here in a minute. You can see the crew chiefs down on the ground, standing at attention, ready to give the Toro a salute. And here we go with the salute. And high fives and everything else.
That's pretty cool. The flight crew member who the nose was a few inches from his nose. Is he giving Toro any kind of indication how close he is, or is Toro he's just literally guessing?
No. He was giving him an indication as he raised his hands above his head.
Gotcha.
And slowly brought them into a cross. Toro's watching his hands very closely, and as he taxis in, that's what he's looking for. When those hands cross and become a cross, that's his sign to stop. And believe me, it's just a few inches. It's less than an inch away. I watched it the other day up close, and it was very impressive to see. I'm so proud of those guys. We're so proud to have them here. We don't get the F-16 demo team is in such high demand, but also in high demand is Justin Lewis in his microjet. I'll tell you what, he puts on an awesome show. And this is the newly engaged Justin Lewis. We were able to witness him yesterday, and he proposed to his girlfriend yesterday on the field after he did his performance. They landed, he got out of the jet, and then he proposed to her, and luckily she accepted. So right now we're going to toss to Justin Lewis and his narrator. We're going to let him tell you all about his performance.
Currently flies the MC-12 reconnaissance aircraft for the Oklahoma Air National Guard and also works as an airline pilot for a major airline. Big wing over out to the right. Now what you need to know about aerobatic aircraft is when they go high and point the nose down low, that's for the airspeed. The airspeed equals, well, cool tricks. And we'll see what happens when he gets to show center. Way down low, here he comes, slicing through the skies over Oklahoma City. Justin Lewis and the FLS Microjet. The FLS Microjet is a high-performance, aerobatic, single-seat, all-metal jet-powered aircraft built from an amateur home builder kit. That's right, Justin Lewis not only flies the FLS Microjet, he built it himself at home in his garage in Choctaw. The design was originally developed in the late 1970s by Jim Beatty of Beatty Aircraft Corporation and designated the BD-5. It earned a reputation as James Bond's jet when it was featured in the movie Octopussy. It is capable of positive and negative 6 Gs. Here he goes, rolling it over with an aileron roll right at show center. The BD-5 was dubbed the world's smallest jet, and through the years, few air show teams have captivated fans all over the world, such as the Coors Light Silver Bullet team and the Bud Light Air Force. Justin currently flies 2 of the former Coors Light Silver Bullet BD-5s, which are now used, get this, as cruise missile targets for the Department of Defense. If you look at our jet, you'll see that we have a military tribute wrap on it. This is the debut show for this wrap. And those of you who follow the FLS Microjet, you'll know we change the wrap about every year. And if you look at the bottom of the wing, you'll see, we fly today to honor those who serve. From those currently and formerly in uniform, those still missing in action, and those who did not make it home. The FLS Microjet is proudly sponsored by Car Wrap City of Dallas, Texas. Car Wrap City professionally designed and applied the wrap you see on the Microjet today. Get a good look at it here as Justin turns that jet back around and as he comes screaming back down the show line. I'll tell you what, he's feeling all those G's right now. What do you say we go up in the cockpit and find out exactly how he's feeling? Hey, Justin, this is Alan down at Air Show Central. How you feeling up there today, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good up here. It's a little warm, but the weather's beautiful, which has been a little bit not what we've had around here in Oklahoma.
I'll tell you, tell me something. How's the turbulence today?
It's really not too bad. I thought it might not be so good when I got up here, but this little jet kind of takes it a pretty good beating. Hey, Alan, I'm going to want to show you something else it does. It's not only a little fast jet, but it's got a little surprise. You want to see it?
I think we love surprises, and I've got a couple thousand friends down here who like surprises too. What do you got for us?
I tell you what, I'm going to do a really hard thing, which is just slow this sucker down here. I'm going to have to turn off my smoke, and I'm putting down the landing gear right now. I'm going to come by the crowd from the right. I want everybody to take a look at the world's fastest landing gear.
The world's fastest landing gear. How fast is it, bud?
Not kidding, it's going to go up and down in less than half a second.
Half a second. That's fast. Let's see it.
All right, so from the right, this is going to be the now you see it, now you don't pass. And I want to thank everybody for helping me come out here. This is my hometown. I'm actually based here. And this is the FLS Microjet debut of the military tribute wrap, Car Wrap City. Here I go, from the right. Now you see it. Now you don't. Now you see it. Now you don't. One more time. Now you see it. Now you don't. How's that, Alan?
Brother, that was fast. What else you got for us?
You want a photo pass?
I don't know, let me ask the crowd real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to get a photo pass from your hometown jet, the FLS Microjet? I think they want one, Justin. Let's do it.
I'm going to say that. So here we go. We're going to come in from the other side. I'm going to take this little jet. We're going to start putting her away, and I got a static jet so that I can walk over to it. It looks just like this one. The kids can get in and out of it without fear of damaging it. I'd love to meet them over there, take a picture, sign an autograph. Meet me over at the Car Wrap City tent right by the Oklahoma Air National Guard. See you on deck.
Roger that. See you on deck, buddy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the man. Get your cameras ready as the FLS Microjet brings it by from left to right with a photo pass. All right, don't worry, he's not done quite yet. I want everyone to focus your attention right on Show Center. I know there's nothing currently out there right now, but if you see that white box truck, everybody just look that way.
Whoa, the microjet. Really like that. I'll tell you what, I wonder if his fiance could squeeze in there. We'll have to ask Greg about that later. But anyway, right now we have a special guest with us. We've got Chief Master Sergeant. Whoa! Chief Master Sergeant Sharp, and you are the Command Chief Master Sergeant for the Air Force Sustainment Center. And I want to ask you a little bit about what does your job entail?
As the Command Chief of the Sustainment Center, I represent the enlisted force across our 4 wings and 3 ALCs. Just kind of keep them in tune with what's going on. There's a lot going on in the Air Force right now. It's just kind of keep them notified and up-channel any concerns they may have across the force.
So how large is your area of responsibility? How many bases do you look at?
Well, we've got the 3 wings at Tinker, Robbins, and Hill, and along with the ALCs at those same locations. And we also have a wing at Scott Air Force Base and a supply chain management wing here at Tinker as well.
So about how many personnel in AFSC?
Well, we've got about 40,000 civilians total force, but approximately 3,500 military.
Wow. Wow. And so what kind of programs, missions and stuff do you get involved in? What do you look at, I guess?
Well, the Sustainment Center there's a broad spectrum of what we do in the Sustainment Center. We do, of course, we do the depot maintenance at our aero logistics complexes here at Robbins, Tinker, and Hill for the various airframes. But also we do WRM, supply chain management, supply chain ops across the Air Force. So all things supply and logistics we manage for the Air Force.
That's a big job.
It is.
So do you get a chance to travel a lot?
We travel quite frequently. My boss, General Kirkland, and I, we travel quite frequently to all our bases. A little battlefield circulation, making sure everyone's doing all right. Kind of live the life of, we've recently made an initiative to, we do move the flag to the other locations versus just staying here at Tinker at the headquarters. We get out and live the life of an airman at Robbins and Hill to see what the challenges are there at those locations.
And how's that been received?
It's been great, actually, surprisingly, to just drop in on them and stay in lodging there and just live the life they live. Eat the DFAC and deal with the traffic and the gate traffic, things like that. Just understand their challenges so we can help them down the road fix those things.
So how long do you stay at a base when you're on the move the flag?
Well, we try to do a full 5 days.
So that's a lot of time to stay there.
It is, but we're at Tinker 365, 24/7 if we're not doing that. So it gives Colonel Bell a little break from us as well.
What's your involvement with the air show today, sir?
Just walking around, just checking on our enlisted folks and just having a presence out there. It's an overwhelming outpouring support we've got from the local community here. We can't do anything that we do here in the Air Force or here at Tinker without the community, the support from the community, whether it's just the support they provide for our airmen that live out in their towns and cities, in the local surrounding area, or a lot of them we're the largest single site employer in Oklahoma. So just providing their sons and daughters to work at our logistics complex and help the mission happen.
That's a big mission overall.
It's huge.
It
really is.
It really is. And so you're having a great time? Is your family out with you here today?
Yes. Yeah, my wife is actually out here roaming around in one of the carts, driving people around, and we're just enjoying having a great time, seeing the community out here, and if you guys come out here, just be safe. Wear sunscreen, drink plenty of water. We're seeing a lot of people in medical tent that are dehydrated. So if you do come out, just please be safe and be mindful of that.
It's a great way to spend part of your weekend,
Yeah, it is.
It really is. Yeah.
And wear your earplugs. It's the sound of freedom out there is loud and proud. So be safe.
And I admire you for taking on that position because I know to have the position that you have to apply for that or put yourself out there for it, right?
Well, somewhat. It's an all-in process, but your heart definitely has to be in this, and I really love it. It's an opportunity for me to give back at the Air Force at this point in my career, and it's an opportunity to help people.
Okay. After this, what would be next for you?
This will probably be my last run, actually. I've been here 29 years, so this will probably be the end of the line for me here at Tinker. But Yeah, it's just been a enlightening experience, you know, and I've never been in Air Force Material Command, you know, large civilian presence and things like that, and the challenges we have, you know.
So what's in the future when you retire? What are you looking at?
You know, that's a tough question.
That's a tough question. I know, I'll put you on the spot on TV.
If I had a nickel for every time I was asked that during the day, to be honest with you. You know,
I couldn't help that.
You know, at this point, you're in the business of helping people and things like that. You kind of find it, you know, either you love it or you find it to be a burden, right?
Yeah.
And I've found I've really enjoyed it. So I'm just looking for that thing that maybe I can get out and help people, whether it's veterans or people in the community and things like that. It's just really, it's just been a real satisfying job for me.
Well, I'm glad you do a great job. I hear nothing but great things about you. So that's the good thing, you know. And you're doing a lot of good for the command. And wish you a lot of luck on everything you do and in the future. And thank you for stopping by. We've had it here, Chief Sharp, Command Chief Master Sergeant for the Air Force Sustainment Center, here at Star Spangled Salute Air and Space Show. We'll be back with more here. We're going to be looking at what we got here in the flight line. What's going on? Well, we have all sorts of aircraft.